Where we have dropped the R accent equals R notation because having lost the integral there is no cause for confusion. The magnetic dipole M is a constant, while B varies in space. Now we invoke a standard vector product identity using increment times B equals 0. This simplifies, and we are left with a simple expression for the force on a dipole. F equals increment parenthesis B times M. After all the work, we are left with something remarkably simple. Moreover, like many forces in Newtonian mechanics, it can be written as the gradient of a function. This function, of course, is the energy U of the dipole in the magnetic field. U equals min B times M. This is an important expression that will play a role in later course in quantum mechanics and statistical physics. For now, we will just highlight something clever we derived by considering the force on the center of mass of the current. This is related to how U depends on R, but our final expression also tells us how the energy depends on the orientation of the dipole M at fixed position. This is related to the torque. Computing the force gives us the torque for free. This is because ultimately both quantities are derived from the underlying energy, the force between dipoles. As a particular example of the force, consider the case where the magnetic field is set up by a dipole M1. We know that the resulting long distance magnetic field is parenthesis 3.24. B parenthesis R equals micro 0 quarter 4V parenthesis 3 times 3 parenthesis M1 times R. R mean M1 quarter R cube. Now we will consider how this affects the second dipole M equals M2 from 3.28. We have F micro 0 quarter 4P in current parenthesis 3 M1 times R parenthesis M2 times R min M1 times M2 quarter R cube, where R is the vector from M1 to M2. Note that the structure of the force is identical to that between two electric dipoles in 2.3. This is particularly pleasing because we use two rather different methods to conclude this force. If we act with the derivative, we have F equals 3 micro 0 quarter 4V R rank 4 parenthesis M1 times R M2 plus parenthesis M2 times R M1 plus parenthesis M1 times M2 R min 5 parenthesis M1 times R parenthesis M2 times R times R. First note that if we swap M1 and M2 so that we also send R to min R, then the force swap sync. This is a manifestation of Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Recall from dynamic and relativity lectures that we need Newton's third law to prove the conservation of momentum of collection of particles. We see that this holds for a bunch of dipole in a magnetic field. But there was also a second part to Newton's third law. To prove the conservation of angular momentum of a collection of particles, we needed the force to lie parallel to the separation of the two particles. And this is not true for the force 3.31. If you set up a collection of dipoles, they will start spinning, seemingly in contradiction of the conservation of angular momentum. What's going on? Well, angular momentum is conserved, but you have to look elsewhere to see it. The angular momentum carried by the dipoles is compensated by the angular momentum carried by the magnetic field itself. Finally, a few basic comments. The dipole force drop off as 1/4 are rank 4, quicker than the Coulomb force. Correspondingly, it grows quicker than the Coulomb force at short distance. If M1 and M2 point in the same direction at lie parallel to the separation R, then the force is attractive. If M1 and M2 point in opposite direction and lie parallel to the separation between them, then the force is repulsive. The expression 3.31 tells us the general result. 3.43.3. So what is a magnet? Until now, we have been talking about the magnetic field associated to electric currents. But when asked to envisage a magnet, most people would think if a piece of metal possibly stuck to their feet, possibly in the form of a bar magnet like the one shown in the picture. How are these related to our discussion above? These metals are permanent magnets. They often involve iron. They can be thought of as containing many microscopic magnetic dipoles, which alike to form a large magnetic dipole M. In a bar magnet, the dipole M points between the two poles. The iron fillings in the picture trash out the magnetic field, which takes the name from that we saw for the current loop in section 3.3. This means that the leading force between two magnets is described by our result, 3.31. Suppose that M1, M2 and the separation R all lie along a line if M1 and M2. I think that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.